Middleport Matters, and it does, of course it does. What is Middleport Matters? What's it all about?
Okay, well, we're a community action group, I call us.
Okay.
So, we're like a resident association really that has a passion for a local area, but we tend to try to do more than we talk about doing, if that makes sense. Because I know it's really easy to just sort of sit around and moan and say, oh, this isn't good, that's not good. We prefer to find new and good opportunities really that we can, stop moaning and find things that are good about the area and make the area a happier place to live.
Start acting.
Yeah.
It's easy for people in an area. Just explain what Middleport was like when you're not from Stoke, are you?
I'm not from Stoke, no. You might have guessed. But I've been here, like half my life.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
All of my adult life. I came when I was 18. So,
Right.
To me, Stoke is my home.
Yeah.
And, I don't have any intention of not living here.
Okay.
But not officially born here.
Okay. So you moved into Middleport.
Yeah.
What's the catalyst that made you suddenly decide one day you needed to do something?
So it was after about 6 months of living there. It had just been too many things and I felt that I had to do something. So I'd found 5 syringes out the front of my house, and having 2 young children, that was a bit of a shock. Because we're on an alleyway, we'd had a few condoms thrown into our garden, and when I spoke to local officers, they were like, oh, that'll be the prostitutes from that hang out in the park or whatever. And the fly tipping, the rubbish was just so bad that, pushing my pram around, it just broke my heart that I was bringing my children into this world, and I didn't want them to grow up thinking that was okay. I had to do something for them. But at that point, I didn't know what. And I had no idea what Middleport Matters would become.
So how did it all start? What did you do?
Well, right at the very beginning, I just set up a Facebook group.
Okay.
I just wanted to find a way to connect with people.
Yeah.
As well as that, I also knocked on every door on my street. And I would give them, I'd come with gifts. So, at Christmas, it might have been mince pies. At Easter, it was like little cream eggs. If I ever went to, a birthday party and there was leftover food, I'd say, don't throw that out, I'm taking it. And I'd knock on little plates of food to my neighbours. I'd find any opportunity to connect with people and just build relationships and find out, who are the people that live in the area, what's life like for them. And pretty quickly we realised that the park was not somewhere that anyone wanted to be.
Okay.
But the park should be somewhere that you want to be. And so that was one of the first things that kind of got the community together really to do something about that.
Okay. How did that happen?
Well, through the Facebook group, a number of people had said, we've got to do something about the park. It was mainly mums that had got in touch, and obviously I agreed. The park at the time was really, really rusty. There was empty frames where there should have been swings and there should have been a zip wire, and some of the play equipment was broken and unsafe, and it just felt so unloved, and it just was not a place that you'd want children to be really. So we found a grant that was for communities that were suffering from deprivation. And we went for it, and we got it. Amazing. Which we weren't expecting at all, because we'd never applied for anything before. I didn't really know what we were supposed to do, how we were supposed to do it. The council was great, gave us lots of support with that.
Okay.
But yeah, we did it, and we had hundreds of people helping us paint the railings and plant flowers and clean up the rubbish, and repainted the bowling pavilion and things like that, and it looks a lot better now.
So you got this start of this community feel.
Yeah.
People getting involved. And were there all people in Middleport? Was it your neighbours who you'd been making these connections with, or did people come in from the outside? Or?
Yeah, it was a mixture. So a lot of the initial influence came from my road, because obviously I was badgering those neighbours' doors, so they had to come out. But yeah, obviously there was like a ripple effect, so people would see us in the park painting the railings for hours and hours and say, oh, what are you doing? I say, well, come help us, so we had young kids from the area, we had some young offenders do some voluntary work with us, some businesses volunteered, people from the YMCA. We had a big crowd of about 30 came one day. That was quite fun to manage. 30 kids with paintbrushes. That was fun. But yeah, it really felt like the whole community coming together and saying we're going to do something about it.
Excellent. And how long ago is this? What sort of timescale was it?
So that was over 3 years ago now.
Okay.
Yeah. So I first set up the Facebook group in 2015. And the park renovation was just the start of 2016.
So how has the feeling in the area changed? Is there a notable difference to people and how they are in Middleport?
It's not going to be an overnight change, and I get that. You know, what the area's gone through, the history, you know, having a community that was thriving, to then have the sort of soul ripped out of it and have buildings demolished, houses demolished, people moved away. It's not going to be overnight to fix that.
No.
Relationships don't happen overnight, and at the moment, you know, we have a community that's, as I say, they haven't really had many opportunities to meet with each other, so they don't know each other, and without relationships, there's no community spirit really. So I know it's going to take a long time, but I know a lot of people have said how much better it is. You know, people that, you know, moved into the area for a rented house, they would have stayed 6 months and moved on, have stayed, you know, years later, still there, because they feel this energy that's building up and they want to be part of it.
Brilliant. I know Middleport Matters now has a number of projects that have started and various funding streams, etc. I'm really interested, because areas like that tend to have lots of anti-behavioural, bad behavioural issues, that sort of thing. Kids not having anything to do, getting on the streets, get up to all sorts of things. And there's one particular project that you do which interests me. It's the Players Academy, so kids and music. How did that come about?
Well, we understood there's a need for young people to hang out with each other.
Yeah.
You know, if I think back to when you know, I was a teenager, I used to hang out, you know, in groups of people. We've now termed that to be a gang, and it doesn't have to be a negative thing to hang out with friends, actually. And I understand that in our community there isn't a lot of places for people to hang out. So, you know, these groups of young people, you know, may end up getting themselves into trouble because they're finding things to do. And we were hoping to find something for them to do, but together. So there's lots of activities out there doing sport and things like that, but we wanted to find something that was like a positive gang. And so we thought a band, you know, is a positive gang. It's a place where you have to work together, you've got to be listening and responding to each other, but you're also learning a skill, something that you probably wouldn't learn in school. You know, I've got a friend that is a music teacher, and the level of music that gets taught in the school is just really basic. And if you haven't got the income to, you know, your parents haven't got the income to give you proper lessons, you know, you probably won't ever perfect that instrument.
Absolutely.
And actually that broke my heart, to think that actually the arts in general is something that's not obtainable to deprived communities. So we thought, well, let's do something if we can. We knew quite a few musicians who were up for the challenge, and we again found a funder that wanted to invest in that. And so that's been going for about 2 years now. We've been going into local primary and secondary schools, running after school club and holiday sessions where we have professional musicians teaching music. So the young people will actually learn how to play a guitar, the drum kit. Some of them write their own songs and do their own music. They can do rap music. With one of our young people, she actually made her own music video. And we always get them to perform as a band. So we've done a number of performance evenings where their families and friends can come and visit and enjoy a kind of gig, as it were. They've performed at schools. And we've even taken them to a recording studio for the weekend, and they've recorded their own album.
Fantastic.
So we're just really giving them that kind of experience and the hope. And you know what? Some of them have just really come on. You know, there's one story that sticks out in my mind of this one boy who, I didn't know this at the time, but I bumped into his music teacher, and he didn't know that we ran a summer program and that this kid had been going to it. But he was saying to me, oh, you know, he came back to school in the September, and it was like his whole personality had changed. And not just for music. He said across all of his subjects, you know, he maybe wasn't very engaged in most lessons, but something changed over the summer, and he didn't know what. And when he found out that he'd been in our music program all summer, he had to come and tell me and say, you know, you've inspired this child to now, you know, work hard in all of his subjects. And now he's been in our program for a couple of years, and he's now one of the older teenagers, and so he's mentoring and helping the younger ones, you know, to learn and develop. And it's just been
there's nothing like the creative process of giving people confidence, is there?
No.
That whole thing, and that does have an effect over everything else that they do. It is just that triggering that confidence. I can do this. Yeah, it's fantastic. There's some news, some new news, some hot off the press.
Yeah. So yesterday, the National Lottery released that they are funding us, which is amazing. So we've got just over £300,000, which is no small amount of money. No. I can't even comprehend that kind of money. It's not all at once. It's over 3 years. But it will mean we can rent our own premises and we can employ some staff. So we're really excited because up until now, we've all been volunteering from our homes. And you can imagine, you know, there's only so much you can do from home when you've got your own job or you've got kids and things like that. So we're really excited to actually have a space where the community can kind of call it their own. They've had so much space taken off them. And this will be something that we hope will always be theirs, where they can come any day to meet with their neighbours and hopefully learn from each other and just start to, you know, have hope again, I suppose.
Yeah, fantastic. So I'm thinking there's a whole different feel in Middleport now from people. There's a whole different way of looking at things, a sort of positivity that people have come from that. And this can only boost it on this amazing grant that you've got. How much was the first grant that you got for this playground?
The very first grant was around £10,000, the first one. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, we've never had this much money from any funder before, like from one funder.
Yeah.
You know, this is more money than we've raised in 3 years. So, you know, it's incredible.
There's one lump sum.
Yeah.
So will this generally go to, I mean, you're going to have these officers, employ people. Is this generally going to fund the projects that you've got on the go at the moment, or is there some exciting new projects in the pipeline?
Well, yeah, we'll definitely be able to do more new stuff.
Yeah.
We haven't got the details of that yet because I want to empower the staff to come up with their own projects and also the community to come forward and tell us what they want to do. You know, the whole time we've always asked local people, what do you like about the area? What don't you like about the area? What would you like to see different? And that is still the number one question that we ask, you know, every year. So we're not prescribing what we want to do, but just in essence, it will be providing opportunities for people to connect with each other, from toddler groups to youth clubs. I'd really love to have a youth club in particular, because, you know, as we've touched upon the antisocial behaviour, you know, I want somewhere safe for young people to get off the streets. So, you know, hopefully in the end, it will be every evening and the weekends, and, you know, parents will know where their kids are and know that they're safe. I'd love that.
Brilliant.
So yeah, watch this space.
Yeah, fantastic. Do you think what you've done there in Middleport and the community that you've been helping and leading is a model that can be used elsewhere? Would you recommend that? Because Middleport's not the only area in Stoke-on-Trent, certainly.
No.
Certainly not the only area in the country that is in need of this sort of changing attitude and this positivity that can come about from action, from doing things.
There are lots of people across the city working tirelessly for their communities. You know, and across the country, we've been really privileged to go and visit some other communities who are a bit further ahead of us. It's one particular one that sticks in my mind near Birmingham. They're about 25 years ahead of us.
Wow.
But they are now an incredible force in their community. They actually turn over, not through grants, £3 million a year.
Wow.
They employ about 20 staff, and they actually own about 70 homes.
Okay.
So they're actually having a big power in their community, and that's what I think, you know, is the model. It's giving communities power where they live, because you're done to so much, you know, whether it's the council telling you this and, you know, your employer telling you this or whatever. This is actually community saying, no, I can make a decision on that. And this community, they actually moved a road because it didn't suit them. You know, who else would move a road other than the people that live there? You know, because they're like, that doesn't suit us. We're going to move that road. So I'm really excited about the future.
Brilliant.
And yeah, I want to keep going, and hopefully one day we'll be of a similar standard. That'd be great.
That's fantastic. So the crux of it, really, what it comes down to is trying to change people's attitudes, really, to accepting things that they really shouldn't accept. And sort of saying that you can make a difference, you can do something, and not rely on other people, not blaming the council or blaming this or blaming that, but just getting in there and making a difference and trying to do something?
Yeah, it's hard to battle against that attitude, I'll be honest with you. And I can understand it, you know, when you've had so many years of people letting you down and, you know, promising things and then not delivering it. I can understand that.
Yeah.
You know, I had that quite a lot at the beginning. You know, I've heard this all before. But the difference is we don't have to stop. We're not paid to be there. We're not, you know, a fixed project. We're local residents. We live there.
Yeah.
So if we want to do it, we can do it.
Yeah.
And we can do it forever. And I think that's the difference, you know, doing it for yourselves. Some people say, oh, why are you doing it? It's somebody else's job. Well, I don't think it is. It's where I live. So I want to do it, you know, and it's not for everybody.
No. Okay.
But I believe it's changing. I believe people have more hope, and people see that a small difference can make, you know, a small action can have a big difference.
Yeah.
You know, but collectively, it makes a massive difference.
Of course.
And that's the point. You know, if we do it together, we can do so much more.
Fantastic. And with that, what a great way to finish. That's amazing. I'm hoping you'll come back and come for another cup of tea and tell us more about it as things progress with this grant and the way it's going forward, etc.
Love to.
Hopefully you'll come back. That would be brilliant. Thanks, Amelia.
You're
Lovely
welcome.
chatting to you.
Thank you.